Oh my gosh.
A
Why
zero
did we
star.
say yes to this challenge?
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem.
Another week, another podcast. It is the Gaming Lovers. G'day, I'm Jem.
I'm Brendo.
And we have had a pretty eventful week this week.
Eventful is one way to put it.
Stressful, exhausting, but fun still.
And all in the name of video gaming.
Yes, absolutely. So before we get to that, I just want to see how your gaming goals are going. Because last week we touched on you finishing...
God of War.
Yes.
Great game.
Yes.
Probably game of the year for myself so far.
So, and your new gaming goal was to play a game that you've probably had on the shelf for far too long, considering how awesome it is.
Well, that's the problem. I play so many games and such a wide variety of games. I've always got a dozen to 20 games waiting to be played.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for it, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is only just started in my Nintendo Switch.
Okay, so you're enjoying it so far?
It's pretty great. I have a bit of a rocky history with the Zelda series.
Yeah?
Yeah, Nintendo 64 era was where I got introduced. I haven't played anything before that.
So not as big of a fanboy of Zelda than a lot of other people, maybe?
No, I haven't. I never had a Nintendo console growing up prior to the 64. I didn't have an NES or a SNES. Mine was a Sega household.
That's true.
And back in those 90s, it was one or the other. There was no friendliness between the two. I loved those two games, Ocarina and Majora's Mask. But after that, Wind Waker was sort of not what I expected because they advertised it. A new Zelda's coming out. It's photorealistic. Look how awesome the graphics are. And then it was cartoon when the game came out. But I actually really enjoyed that game as well. Wasn't what I expected, but that was a great one. After that, things get a little shaky. Twilight Princess, I absolutely disgusted by. Playing the Wolf Link sections were absolutely horrid. The game had the worst start this game rivaled Final Fantasy 13 for the slowest start of a game I've ever played. And then after that, Skyward Sword didn't quite click for me either. So I've sort of not so much on the Zelda bandwagon as I used to be, but review scores for Breath of the Wild definitely put it on my radar, and it won accolades galore last year.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had a chance to get around to it.
Yeah.
Received it as a birthday present, so I decided to enjoy it.
Good, about time.
It's pretty great.
Well, you're finally on that bandwagon, and I can happily report for my gaming goal, I have finished Danganronpa V3. Oh my goodness. I just want to do like a spoiler-filled episode of just talking nonstop about this game because there are so much things that happen and I need to unpack it and I need to talk about it, but I don't want to ruin it because anything I say could be construed as spoilers. Like it had moments where it even reminded me of Hideo Kojima's level of like hidden Easter eggs, things that happened at the beginning of the game being
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. And even see, look, I was nearly going to spoil it then. I was about
Please
this close.
don't, or I'll have to quit the podcast.
It was
I
so
won't
good.
listen to it anymore.
Oh. So good. So I'm very happy that I finally finished that goal. So I need a new one, but we'll figure that out at the end of the podcast.
We will indeed find out what we're up to next.
Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about games that have felt less like games and more like work. Games that are painful to get through. Sometimes games that just because you want those trophies, you force yourself into hours of agony basically just to finish it.
The other situation is when a friend goes, this game is the bomb. You have to play it. You have to play it and tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sort of obligated to play through a game maybe not your cup of tea. And those can be a bit of a slog.
Yes, just a bit. Or you have friends like ours who challenge you to beat their score on a game of Overcooked.
That's right. We talked about Overcooked last episode.
Yes.
Party games, great fun. Games are fun when you play them for fun.
For fun.
Games sometimes not so fun when you're playing them for other reasons.
Yes. So they were quite proud of their score on a particular level and approached us and threw the gauntlet down. So we got them on the phone, and here's what happened.
What's cracking?
What's up?
Well, what do you think is up? You've challenged me to beat a score in Overcooked, and I need to know what the score is for us to accept this challenge.
Yes.
It's somewhere around 600.
Somewhere around 600. That's not very
That's
precise.
too vague. We need the exact numbers.
We just got home. I had to turn it on and see exactly.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
Yeah, that's sick.
So, just as you're turning on your PlayStation, what are the rules? Like, how long do we have to meet this challenge? And can we use loopholes?
Can you use what?
What loopholes would you have in mind?
I don't get some extra people helping us? Or does it have to be just me and Brendo?
No, it's 2-player versus 2-player.
Okay. All right. See, these are the things we need to know.
We didn't know how many people you technically used when you set the score. So,
2.
okay. 2 on 2. That's fine.
And what was the level?
In the festive seasoning, so the Christmas add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way,
And
is a great pun.
Level 1-7.
1-7.
1-7, okay.
Yep. And our score was 604.
604.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 605 and we win.
If you get 605, you cheated because you can't get odd numbers.
So,
Hey, glitches happen.
no, I need to know, what are the stakes? Like, if we beat you, what do we win?
The stakes
Yeah.
are that the losing team tells the other team that they are amazing video players / geniuses.
I know, I want a plaque. If we're going to do that, we need a plaque, like in 9-9.
Championship Cumberland.
So what's our actual time limit? What is our time limit on this?
I don't know. You guys are taking this far more seriously than I intended.
What did you expect from
I
us?
knew they would. That's why I didn't jump.
The voice of reason.
Everyone's going to lose his job because he's going to call in sick until he beats it.
Off sick till further notice. Well, if you don't set a time limit, we'll just...
Well, I originally said 24 hours, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well,
The next 24 hours are quite busy for us, but I don't know, maybe
is
Wednesday?
48 reasonable?
All right, you can have 48. Bearing in
48.
mind that Steve and I only play after Jake is in bed. We only get a little bit of time as well in our day where we
Oh, look, we are friends on PlayStation Network, and I see that account logged on playing Overcooked an awful lot.
Yes, after Jake's in bed.
But do you do this like every night?
No.
Not every night. How often would you say?
6 out of 7.
How often would you say?
I don't know.
We watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Wow.
I don't know. Recently we've been watching more Brooklyn Nine. It's been like once a week, but before that it was more often. So.
Okay. So we're going to need to play quite frequently to kind of catch back up to speed.
Well, look, there's always the edge of natural talent that will help tilt the scales a little bit.
48 hours.
You've made me nervous.
All right, and the losing team has to get the winning team a plaque that says that they are the best gamers / geniuses.
No, not best. Just amazing.
Amazing game, the most amazing gamers / geniuses.
I don't know if I want a plaque, to be honest with you.
Well, I do, and we're the ones that are going to win, so you best make a plaque.
I'm not so sure that you will.
It's on.
Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you, but we've got a game to beat, so bye.
Sayonara. All right, so what are you doing for the foreseeable 48 hours?
It's time to get to the gaming room and prove that the gaming lovers are the best.
Or to the kitchen? No, to the game.
Well, they are wireless controllers. We can play in the kitchen if you want the true experience.
And we could burn real food when things go on fire. No, a bit too
Actually,
much,
it's
a bit too much.
a bit too distracting.
Too much.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're very confident.
I reckon. They should know better than to challenge us.
Well,
Just saying.
yeah, bit of context. They're not video gamers.
No.
They have...
They're very casual gamers at best.
Yeah, and they've found they really, really enjoy Overcooked. So they
Really
play it a fair bit.
enjoy Overcooked.
So we're going to try and find out whether somebody who, no offense to them, but not the greatest gamers, reaction time wise, you'd think, ability to adapt to different control schemes like we do, because we play all different types of games. Brag.
If
So,
this was an anime right now, your nose would be in the air and it would look like Pinocchio.
so does it come down to practice makes perfect with one game, or does natural skill overcome?
Well, we also had the deadline as well. 48 hours to complete the challenge. We will find out a little bit later on in this episode how we went and if we beat their score. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, because of this challenge, we decided to change our topic for this week to be about games that feel like work because, frankly, this challenge felt like a lot of work for us.
Yeah, a lot of people boost for achievements. They do the same monotonous task over and over and over. And even before the age of achievements, me and my buddy, who will be known as Silent Falcon, the Nintendo 64 Perfect Dark multiplayer mode had ranks, and you had to use a certain amount of ammo, walk a certain amount of kilometers, you get a number of kills, get a number of points in certain capture the flag games, and every time you leveled up certain aspects, you went up a rank. We wanted to get to rank number 1, and we probably invested hundreds of hours, and it was pretty boring, to be honest.
Is this the same friend that you were like the top of the country with Guitar Hero for a time?
Yeah, I think we said, again, last episode, pretty early on the Guitar Hero bandwagon.
Yeah, but you didn't mention your history of being nearly pro level.
Well, it's based on the website that was checked at the time. We had the only 2 Australian accounts with all achievements unlocked in that game, which required a lot of work, a lot of skill.
That was pretty early.
It was pretty early.
Yeah.
There are people who are much, much better than me in that game nowadays, and
absolutely.
a hammer to the hand sort of limited my abilities to play to my best ability as well.
Excuses.
That's a pretty significant excuse.
I'll let it fly. All right, so going to our topic of games that feel like work, there's a few. You've got probably way more on your list than I do.
Yep.
Because I tend to play games for fun. And that sometimes means I replay the same games over and over again because I want to, because it's fun. Whereas you will play games, even if they're horrendous, you will play games. Like you went through the Sonic series not too long ago, like from start to finish. And there were times I could see you wanting to visibly like bang your head against the wall. It was
There
that
are
bad.
some shockers.
But you did it out of loyalty to Sonic, as well as, being a
Badge of honour,
completionist.
yes.
You wanted to get every little stupid star you could get in one of those games. You were trying to get 3 stars on all the, like, racing levels in one of them.
Rough. Very rough.
Yeah. And so things like that come to mind. You start off because you've got so many more on your list.
Sometimes it's hard to distinguish where the line is, because we can be suckers for punishment when there's a goal that you're actually moving towards and you sort of enjoy the ride, even though it's arduous at times, even though it's tough as nails, you may be retrying the same checkpoint over and over and over and over again. When me and my buddy, the Falcon, played through The Last of Us on grounded difficulty for the first time, we played a 2.5-hour session and made 0 progress on one particular checkpoint.
That would be
Now,
frustrating.
since we've beaten that game, we've done it again and we breezed through it. So it just goes to show that your skill can improve on these things. I've also beaten the entire original Mass Effect trilogy on insanity difficulty. The first one was a nightmare. The second one, I absolutely loved that playthrough. The high pressure from having such little health. I played as a sniper who could, throw on a bit of invisibility when things got a little too hot.
As an infiltrator?
That was fun. Mass Effect 3 was a little harder, but I still soldiered on. There's no chance I'm doing that on Andromeda because that game ain't the best.
Oh, it's buggy as well, and you don't want that happening in the middle of a really long fight and then just have it glitch out on you. As some fights do in Andromeda, there's one... They're kind of like giant metal spider thingies. I forget what they're called now. It's been a while since I've played. But there is one level, I think it's on the first planet, that you put a colony on or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do it right, if you chase it in your car or your Mako, or it's not the Mako, it's something else. Tempest is the name of the ship. Oh, see, it's been a while since I played.
You've repressed the memories.
I know. That makes me really sad to say that. But if you chase it in your car instead of on foot, then you can never beat it. It becomes invincible. And
How annoying.
that happened to me the first time I did it, because it says chase it. And I'm like, oh, okay, jump in the car, chase it. I don't know where it's going. It could be going halfway across the map.
Everybody in the car.
It
We're off
doesn't
on an
tell you.
adventure.
And it keeps flying around, and then it lands when you get close to the battlefield that it's taking you to. But if you haven't played before, you assume if you're chasing it, jump in the car. Why would you run on foot?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
you're chasing something that's floating like in space. So anyway, that aside, I completely got a different tangent. You don't want to play a game on a harder difficulty when you know it can break so easily, because
Yes.
that makes it so much worse.
or risky. Speaking of that little sidebar, Call of Duty 2, one of the hardest achievements in that was to beat the entire game on the highest difficulty. I got to the second to last level and my save corrupted. Hours gone. Now that was 13 years ago or whatever. I've moved on since then, but
Yeah.
it hurt.
Corrupted saves suck. That happened to me really recently, actually, when I was playing Dragon Age 2. It corrupted and it would not let me reload. I had to go hours back into the game because it just, for some reason, it froze, and then the autosave before it was corrupted.
Well, Brendo
So-
tip, I always rotate through at least 3 save slots,
I
if possible.
I tend to save quite a fair bit.
Yep.
But sometimes you get into the motion, especially in a game that has
Or
as
in an
many
RPG
cutscenes
as
many
well.
cutscenes as Dragon Age 2 has. It's easy to forget to save.
True.
So, I have a feeling one of your biggest ones would have to do with Metal Gear.
Oh, yes. It's, as you may have guessed, I like to play through games blind,
Mm-hmm.
play them as I play them, no influence based on trophies, but then once I beat them, I'll see what the trophy list says and think, oh, that'll be a nice one. I'll play through a little differently and aim for that trophy or this achievement. So I've played through and platinumed Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 took a lot of work. It's got a bunch of extra modes and stuff. 3's a breeze. You can do that in 1.5 playthroughs, which don't take much time. Metal Gear Solid 4, they decided to put in an achievement to unlock all emblems. Now, every time you beat the game, you get certain emblems. If you get 1,000 kills, you'll get like a crocodile emblem or something. And if you get
So
seen...
basically, to do 8 playthroughs.
Well, to get them all, there's no way. I remember you were thinking I was crazy when I kept saying I had to play through this game 8 times, 8 different ways. Some of them, not being seen by any enemies, not, killing any enemies. And then other ones, you have to have like 50 hours of playtime, die 100 times, get seen 150 times, some ridiculous thing like that. And that was just, I'd committed so much already. I wanted to see it through.
I swear some people create trophies just to see who's a bit masochistic and a glutton for punishment.
Or just plain dumb like me.
Or has way too much time on their hand.
Yeah. Oh, I've just remembered one more off the top of my head. Dead Rising 1. For a measly 20 achievement gamer score, you have to play the Infinity mode on that. Survive 7 in-game days with no saves. Each in-game day is 2 hours.
That's a long session.
You do the math.
14.
14 hours, no saves. You have to survive. Your health constantly drains because you're hungry. And you have
How would you go to the bathroom? Can you pause?
Me and the Falcon did it. And we had to basically do toilet breaks in shifts. Here, I'll climb on top of this roof and you just make sure nothing gets up here while I go for a sneaky wee.
You would have to go to the bathroom really quickly.
By the end of that, I was so trashed. I was almost unconscious with just fatigue for 20 gamer score, simply to round out the full 1,000.
All right. For me, one game that I have a love-hate relationship with is Animal Crossing.
You play that's frequently on. You've got both the DS and the
Yeah, I would
phone version.
I say I think I actually prefer the mobile version. It's easier. I can do it in bursts, and I don't get penalized for neglecting it.
Well, what is Animal Crossing? Explain, because I don't.
Animal Crossing is
I've never played it.
it's a cutesy little game on Nintendo DS. And you basically, if you're playing on the DS, you come to this town you've just moved, and they have this case of mistaken identity and make you their mayor.
With all the pay and
And you're
perks
like,
that come with it.
I think you got the wrong person. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure it's you. Congratulations. Here's the mayor. Here's
Here's the key to the city.
basically, what do you want us to do to this town? And they give you all the power.
Increase the taxes.
And all the people that live in Animal Crossing are animals, and they're very cute, and they which is cute but gets annoying after a while. So I tend to turn the sound off when I play and just have something else that I listen to. And it's an easy game. It's a game I will give to like kids to play if they want. Like if we have friends over and there's a kid that looks bored on their own while the older ones are doing something else, I'll be like, here, play this. Because even if they can't read, they can still kind of
There's
learn the basics of catching butterflies.
unlimited
and things
busy
like that.
work to do in that sort of
Exactly.
game.
But if you play as an adult, there is a lot of strategy to it in building up funds and making this town huge. But if you put that down, because it uses real world time, if you put it down for a couple of days and come back to it, people move. People leave your town. Just because you've neglected them for a couple of days.
Well, the man didn't show up.
For a couple of days. Let me have a vacation. I mean, come on. So that's why I probably prefer the I think it's Happy Camper or whatever it's called on my phone, because I can play that for 20 minutes here and there, and I've always got it with me, whereas I don't tend to have my DS with me very much, and the stuff that I need to do on the DS takes a lot more time. So I have this thing where I get really addicted to it, but then I feel like I always feel like it's this real world obligation that I have to go and help this stupid
You
town.
have to go to work, basically.
Exactly. It really, and it turns into work. So it's, my love-hate relationship. And I'll delete a save and then I'll start from scratch all over again just because my town is desolate.
It's just falling apart.
No one lives there. I can't make any money. I'm like, okay, let's start again. And then inevitably it hits that same point when I get sick of it. So,
Yeah.
that's when it feels like work.
Well, I'm seeing a pattern in my ones because usually it's if I'm determined, if I go, yeah, this platinum trophy looks like it'll be fun to achieve. I like brainless checklists. Like, I used to love getting 100% on the older Grand Theft Auto games on the PS2 because you'd have like, all right, collect these 100 packages, do these 12 ambulance missions, and I'd sit there with a checklist and tick them off, and then when achievements came out, I'm like, yes, this is what I've been doing anyway. This is fantastic.
Getting rewarded for it now.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll beat a game and I'll either move on immediately to another game or I'll think, all right, what trophies can I get? And it always seems to be the case when I'm thinking about what becomes from enjoying the game to just arduous work is always when there's that one trophy or achievement. I've done everything else and I feel like I have to do this.
Yep.
And you just beat Danganronpa V3.
Yes.
That platinum took, so many hours.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I've looked through the trophy list and I'm like, I don't feel like I would, like, as much as I know I could get some of these trophies, I don't feel like I could get all of them, not without doing my head in, basically.
Which
It's
is
a lot
exactly what
harder
happened to me.
It's a lot harder than the other two.
The other two still took their time.
No,
I did
but
those.
This one's that much harder, which says something.
I did the first two, and so I thought, well, this is the third in the series. I've got to get this platinum as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Monolith minigame is a nightmare.
I actually really like that minigame.
It's fun if you're just playing for fun, but when you have to get an S rank on mean difficulty, we'll come back after you've done that and you can tell me how fun it is.
I've played it on mean difficulty and I came close to getting S rank.
Yeah, I came close a lot too.
But it's the kind of thing, like, I'll watch Netflix and I'll be playing this. So I'll watch a show that I've seen already so I can kind of listen to it and concentrate on the game. So I don't feel like I'm wasting time so much. I tend to do that with a lot of work that's monotonous and grindy like that for video games.
Yep.
One platinum that I got, I don't think you got.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Hashtag.
It's super rare though. So this is why I gotta brag. Fallout 4.
You did.
Yes.
And speaking of grindy, busy
oh my
work,
word.
was that the settlement?
Yes,
Achievement.
the most ridiculous achievement trophy ever. So you have a settlement, which is a new mechanic that they introduced for Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
And basically your job is to make sure that everyone stays happy. But the only way to get 100% happiness, people figured out, was that you needed a stupid amount of doctor's booths.
So no
Nothing
food,
else works.
no water.
No, you need basic one thing of make sure you've got clean water and electricity and some security turrets and things like that to protect them. But no, the thing that makes the settlers happy in the wastelands is 80 million doctors surrounding them.
Sometimes you need that 802nd opinion.
Exactly. It was insane. I spent so much money and I'm just I literally had, it was rows and rows of doctors. In over in Japan how they've got those festivals that they do around New Year's with all the stalls leading up to the shrines. That's what it looked like. Just this big
All
long
doctors'
row
booths.
of doctors' booths at my settlement. And finally, it took me forever, but I finally got that trophy and I'm this is insane.
That's not a culture festival that I would like free samples from. You flu shot? No, thank you. I'll move on, thank you.
And that's one of those things, because that was the only way to do it, at least as far as I know. There might have been other ways people have found since then, or they might have patched it.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. Thankfully, we live in a day and age where games can be patched because, back in the day, if your game had a glitch like that, it was already out.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. But it doesn't make logical sense to me. I mean, it makes sense that you'd want doctors and you'd want a few of them, but that many and to that scale, and that all the other stuff that I had at that settlement, it should have added up quicker with other stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So,
You'd think having comfortable beds and, quality chefs.
and housing and good and food and all that kind of stuff, and we had all of that. And so the fact that it was just one thing, you could literally have barely anything else and just have doctors and it would work, is it bugs me that that's the way it was structured. So I don't know who programmed that specific challenge, but I think that
It could have just been an anomaly.
Yeah. It's one of those things that annoys me, but it's done now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, another one that comes to mind, back in my day, before you could just look up a guide on the internet, guidebooks were the way to get your maps with all of your collectible items and
And they
things
cost
like
a
that.
bomb.
They cost a fair bit, but depending on the game, sometimes they were money well spent.
Yep.
I used to love getting them just for the artwork. Sometimes I'd buy them if they were heavily discounted. Sometimes they'd show up at EB for $4 or whatever, and you think, oh, this game, I don't have it, but the art looks awesome. I used to love the art, especially in the Final Fantasy books.
I love the art books.
So good. So I had the guidebook for Assassin's Creed Original,
Ooh.
the very first one.
Was it first edition? Will it be worth a lot because it's a book?
No.
Oh.
The game's actually not that great compared to the smoothed mechanics of all the other ones.
Yeah.
But there were a abundance of collectibles, and again, fresh on the achievement train of the early 360 generation, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I love collecting mindless things. One slight problem. The guidebook was printed incorrectly.
Oh, no.
The collectible icons were occasionally not anywhere near where they were on the map. So all you had to rely on was a map that was wrong.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Only frustrating when you've gotten 97 out of 100 and suddenly you've got 3 marks on the map that don't line up and you're like, is these actually the ones that I've missed, or have other ones actually ended up where I got the one that I got?
Were you in it? Was that in a time when you could go online and find people saying this one's actually here or this is here?
The problem was you had to find the specific people who had used that exact same guidebook and found the remedy and posted about it online.
Much rarer back then.
Now, the good news is I did get it, but it took
Did you become the person that then posted what you found online to help other people that had bought that book that got screwed over?
You know what? I never did, but I probably should have because it might have helped my karma level.
Possibly.
Fallout reference.
Yes, no, I got that.
So we've invested hours upon hours upon hours in some of these games
Yeah.
simply for that one little checkbox. And sometimes we even fall short and don't actually achieve it and just give up and crack a tanty, controllers flying.
Mm-hmm. I remember trying to do on the Nintendo 64 for Mario Kart, if you've completed all levels in Grand Prix, I think it was a single Grand Prix, single player, on the 150 cc's, and you won all of them, then you could unlock it so it would turn all of the tracks backwards.
Mirror mode.
Yes.
Yep.
I never achieved that.
I wonder if you can do it these days, now that you're more of an intense gamer.
I think I gave up. Like, I got close and then I just couldn't be bothered. I was like, nah, I want to enjoy this game. This feels like too much like work.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important line to walk. Like, while it's satisfying to get the trophies and achievements and do all these things on the checklists, the main reason that we play, or that we should play, is fun. And
Well, it should be.
it should be.
I still love achievements.
True. And there is some satisfaction in stepping up to a challenge.
What about when someone challenges you in Overcooked? Let's get back to that.
Let's see how we did and if we managed to beat Mel and Steve's score.
It's been a while.
It's been a very long while. How long
Before
exactly?
we start, let me check the trophies.
Mm-hmm.
We 3-starred everything for Valentine's Day last year. It's been over a year since we've played this properly.
What a great Valentine's Day.
Suddenly I'm not so confident in our skills. 604 is the score to beat.
All right, so we need 605
Wow.
minimum. Not that I think it works that way.
It goes up by...
How did they get 4? That's a really random number.
No, you get tipped 4 and 6 and stuff like that.
This is a Christmas level, right? So I'm going to play as Rudolph.
Alright, Rudolph and the dinosaur.
I'm so nervous. It's been over a year since we played Overcooked, and I don't think we're ready.
No practice, straight into it.
How do I run again?
We need code words.
Circle? Chop, 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 chop. Oh no, I fell in the hole!
This is,
Oh, that's not what you want. Oh my gosh, I keep falling! No.
What is going on?
This is horrendous.
Yeah, we can beat
This
this.
is horrendous. How long do we have to beat their record?
48 hours. It's going to take us 48 hours just to get a hang of the controls again.
I know. I should not have... My hands feel, like, slippery. I'm getting the nervous sweats again, hun.
I think now's the time to push that triangle button.
Alright, we really need to come up with a system because we just keep losing points. We haven't even hit 100 points yet.
Oh my gosh, I hate when the music gets faster.
We've got like 20 seconds.
Sweaty hands.
Yeah, we're screwed. That was shocking. We didn't even get 1 star. We didn't get it.
Oh boy.
That was abysmal. We failed 4 orders. Oh my gosh.
A
Why
0
did we
star.
say yes to this challenge?
Because we're great.
I think the evidence says otherwise.
Well, we're doing it again.
And again and again and again. Oh, quick, 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 quick. 434 points. That's
It's an improvement
It
by a
is.
mile.
a big improvement.
200, 280, 430. We're charging.
I honestly can't see how we get better than that. That was a 3-star score.
I know exactly how. Don't steal my potatoes.
But they're so delicious.
Grab that chicken. Don't let the chickens go to waste. That's rule number 1.
They're turkeys. Because it's Christmas.
A Christmas chicken. Alright, you make the chicken and chips.
Turkey.
Does it matter?
It
It's
is.
a freaking bird. I'll do the chicken and chips. Chicken and veggies, I mean. The turkey and carrots, whatever it's called. Just take the chicken on your side.
You keep calling it chicken.
Does it matter?
It does.
No, it doesn't. You got the chicken by itself, turkey by itself, whatever bird it is by itself. I got the chicken and carrots. Yes, I know what you're going to say.
There's a chicken, turkey.
Is it a chicken or a turkey?
Well, you called it a chicken, so now I'm calling it a chicken. Chicken on its own. I keep calling it chicken
Don't
now.
worry
Look
about
what
it. It's
you've
not
done
an
to me.
issue. It's a non-issue.
Alright, cleaning my plate. And I need a cooked turkey. And I've got carrot ready to go. Oh, you took my turkey.
Well, you need a call that you want it.
I did. I literally did. I said I need a turkey.
Check the replay on that.
Yeah.
You didn't call that one.
And I need a cooked turkey.
You had a bunch of ingredients on the floor.
Totally did.
And start again.
No, no, no.
No, we have to.
No.
It's wasted.
It's not
6 seconds
wasted.
of our life. I only have
Get the food. Get the food. What are you doing?
restarting. 'Cause
You-
that was
you-
an abysmal start.
That wasn't. We got an order out with a thing, and it had the tip.
Stuff goes so well,
Until it doesn't.
and then it just turns to garbage.
I really want to watch Mel and Steve do this because I don't believe them. All right, I'll do the turkey and potato. If it it fell in the water again. This is just bogus. I hate this level with a passion. I hate this level.
Our marriage can't handle this.
Day 2.
We'll do a big toilet stop before we start. Is that recorded?
Yes, it was recorded.
Toilet stop.
Oh, that's funny.
Overcooked.
Do we try to get the 6:05 or do we try to break their new record of 6:12?
Oh, we'll try to break 6:12. Technically, I think they challenged us to beat their score, which at the time was 6:04. Since then, it has now reached 6:12 because they are mocking us.
I know. How dare they?
I love it.
I do not.
Let's do this. Did you just set stuff on fire? We are restarting.
Carrot.
You put the conveyor belt on fire.
524. We are surging. Surging. 21.
21 orders.
12 seconds later.
Oh, delusion is set in. She's cracked. She's cracked.
Thousands of tears later.
I have no joy in life anymore. I've cried tears of frustration at this game.
What are you doing?
Well, obviously, I found the flaw in our strategy. I was being the dinosaur.
Oh, we're too slow.
They're not
you
very good
dinosaur.
cooks. He's got little arms.
I have a big head and little arms. I don't think this plan was very well thought out. See, if this was my Christmas dinner, I'd just be happy with a plate of potatoes.
Close.
So close.
To 584.
Our best.
23 orders out.
We are nipping at the heels.
You make the potato and chips. Potato and chips.
Potato and chips.
1 eternity later.
I can't handle more of this.
Make his breath. I wish the buttons would do what I wanted them to.
Just not in the hole.
Dashing in the hole. In a stupid restaurant that uses flamethrowers when it really should not.
Guess what score we got?
It's like a curse. Even though it's a good score, it feels like it's mocking us. Wake up, get out there. Last one.
For today.
Yes.
And then we have a scarce few hours tomorrow.
It's gonna be down to the wire. Alright, we can do this.
No, maybe we can't.
I think we can. We've gotten high. We came like this close to their score before. We can do it again.
Defeat is looming.
The next day.
Playing this in the morning is probably not the smartest thing.
Reminds me when I used to wake up and play Guitar Hero, like freshly just woken up.
Mm-hmm.
It would be
My hands are not keeping up with my brain.
Everyone, lend me your energy for the gaming lovers.
For victory! 23 orders.
It can be done.
That's good. That's good. We're getting better.
I'm adrenally drained.
Adrenaline?
Adrenally.
We can do this, 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 we can do this,
We can do this.
Ba-da-ba-ba. Could you imagine Gordon Ramsay in this kitchen?
I hate Overcooked. I don't think we're going to do it, love.
We've got 15 minutes.
There's a 23 bloody orders out. We still didn't do it.
Gonna have to get them a stupid plaque.
Well, you're the one who elevated it to a plaque.
Well, it didn't seem like the stakes were high enough.
Alright,
Okay.
2 good runs. The final 2.
Try not to panic. Okay. Are you okay?
I can't breathe. Not the best timing. Woo!
Alright.
2 more runs.
Ready? Go.
Start! Ay, no.
Sorry. No time to choke.
That's exactly what we're doing, is choking.
Oh no. I've got the nerves. This is right before I went on my learners. And I got so nervous in the anticipation. I just kept doing stupid things that I never normally did.
Like play a game for 12 hours, trying to break a record that seems impossible.
It's not impossible. We just clearly don't have the skill.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Get that carrot done. And we can do the turkey and carrot.
Turkey and carrot, we need this. We need this. Yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh my gosh! We made it! By 2
With 2
points!
minutes on the clock!
With 2 points! Oh my word! Oh, we gotta save that. They're never gonna believe us.
Save video clip.
Oh my word! How many? We had
And just to be sure, I'll do it on mine as well.
at 1:58 on this glorious Tuesday afternoon.
5 minutes later.
So, want to beat the world record?
No.
Let's never accept a challenge from them again.
I kind of feel bad though, because they're not really pro gamers.
Well, neither are we. We're not professional. We're gamers, but we're not pro gamers.
And the fact that they had a badge of honour that we have now taken in our hands.
No,
and
no, no,
crushed
no,
into
no, no,
dust.
no. Don't feel guilty. They challenged us.
Later that same evening.
I wonder how they'll react.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hey!
Greetings, friend.
Hello, I was just about to text you.
Is your wife there as well?
She is. She's just about to serve up dinner.
So, let me just ask, for dinner, are you having a turkey and potatoes and carrot?
No, I think it's chicken, corn, well, I guess potato.
Is it as frantic as the game is?
No, I think Mel looks pretty calm. There's no open flame.
No flamethrowers.
No open flame.
Has she chopped and cooked carrots that have then accidentally just gone straight in the bin?
We have structured our kitchen so that the bin is not near any cooking device.
Excellent.
But we are going to perhaps install a conveyor belt. That might be helpful.
It can either aid or horrendously inhibit your ability to cook on time.
Yeah.
We might have to have different speed settings on our one though.
All right, the video has been sent. It has been uploaded and received in Melissa's messenger file. So if she could take a moment to pause her cooking, make sure that nothing's left on the stove and, going to catch fire, things like that. Take a moment to watch. We would like to hear your reaction.
Now, we started our 48 hours from 2 p.m. 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Based off what we were texting earlier, you know that we were playing for the entire 48 hours, which doesn't bode well.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours were you playing?
We probably played
6 to 8.
6 to 8, somewhere around there, within those 48 hours. We still had work.
6 to 8 hours.
We still had youth. We still had a lot of other stuff we did.
614 points.
That was achieved at 1:57 p.m. today.
Achieved at 1:57 p.m. today.
Our last attempt.
Mm-hmm. Only a couple of minutes left on the clock.
Leaving it to the last minute.
Literally.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
What score did we get, Mel, when we beat it? Was it?
Sorry,
We
what?
managed to beat our own score. Was it 604? I think we set the challenge at.
Yeah,
Correct.
604. So 605 was our benchmark, but then you went and you beat your own score again, which was
612.
by 2 points. I believe we have won this challenge.
By the slimmest of margins, both in time and score.
So you best prepare that plaque. Oh, you best.
Well, I don't think the plaque was agreed to.
It was. No.
We have the audio.
It
The
was
plaque
agreed
was not
to.
part of the deal.
Yes,
Don't
it
forget
was.
No, Mel said that wasn't a part of the deal.
Oh, what is
But
this?
I remember Mel saying no, there was no plaque, but as part of the challenge, we will say that you two are amazing gamers as geniuses.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Melissa.
No, she definitely said it.
I didn't hear her though.
Well, it was said.
I'm sorry, it needs to be verified.
She even said video players.
To clarify, our first attempt at this, we didn't even get 1 star. We were that out of form.
And we found out we hadn't played Overcooked since Valentine's Day last year.
Yeah.
So we were a little rusty.
So how many levels did you actually play?
Just that one.
Just that one level for about 8 hours.
Yes.
Correct. It was miserable. We peaked at about 580 and we could not break that until we got that 614. So it took a long demoralising ride, but we did it. We have screenshot, we have the video capture, it's all time dated. We squeezed in at the last second.
You know there's trust. You know I believe you.
Well, you know I like to play by the rules.
Yeah, unlike some people who aren't going to give us a plaque.
No, I remember Mel saying that the plaque was never a part of the initial agreement. The initial agreement was the person who got the highest score, the other team would say that you are amazing players / geniuses.
Well, after the amount of effort we put into it, we don't know if it's actually worth the trade-off. I wasted many hours of my life. We did do some extra research.
You're lucky we stretched it to 48 hours, man.
Yeah, well, we played for a single hour on the first day, so we really didn't have time to do it in 24 hours. We did do some extra research and found a verified world record for that level being 642, which is an absolute monster.
So that's your challenge.
You got 48 hours.
You have to beat the world record now.
I don't know about that.
Third place in the world isn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get 642?
It's only one extra dish in more tips.
Yeah, more tips.
Yeah, we found that you ran out of turkey. You can't get that much turkey.
Well, not all the dishes require it though, so sometimes it's the luck of the
You would
draw.
have done 20. You did 24, was it?
Yep.
Yep, they did
Yeah,
25 dishes and they got near
beat us
perfect
by-
tips.
We only beat you by 2
You beat us
points.
by tips. Yeah.
Yeah.
By 1 tip.
Well, good service pays off.
Mm-hmm. But there you go. You guys are third in the world. Congratulations.
Yeah, third for now. What's that?
We'll call you back in 48 hours. We'll see how you're going.
Yeah, let us know how you go with that world record, guys.
Yeah, well, I'll take it tomorrow off work now.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for the
Well
challenge.
done.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Plaque wasn't part of the agreement. What rubbish is this?
Well, you can check the audio.
It is. It was in the audio.
Check it again.
It was.
And-
It is. I will find it. I will replay it, and it will be held over the head. I'm salty. I want my plaque. I want my plaque.
That
Oh.
is funny stuff.
Still waiting on that plaque, by the way.
Oh, well. Just an update. After that phone call, within 24 minutes, they improved on our score again.
They
Six-
couldn't handle that we beat them, and they went
Six-
and they had to go and bump it up.
620. I am not trying to beat that. We did what we set out to do. We beat the score that was set before us. We beat their score.
But
we are victorious in this
We
challenge.
are victorious. So they're sitting on 620, which puts them at number 2 in the world. But I still want to know if they managed to ever beat the world record, because that would be impressive.
It's lofty.
It is, but I think they could do it. They've got a good system down.
Yeah,
So
obviously.
kudos to you guys, and we're never playing Overcooked again.
Never.
All right, before we wrap up this podcast for this week, we need new gaming goals for next week. So yours, obviously, you're continuing Zelda Breath of the Wild,
Correct.
and hopefully you can get maybe to a major story checkpoint.
Yeah, not much has happened yet.
You've got your little glider thing.
I got off the plateau.
Yep.
I've made it to Kakariko Village, which isn't a spoiler, it's just a place.
Yep.
And let's see which direction in this big wide world I head next.
Mm.
Now, what are you going to do? You've just beaten a game, which is
I
always the
know.
hardest time to decide what is next.
Especially, I feel so emotionally drained from this game, and I don't want to think about other games right now. Like, I get into this headspace of, no, I still need to marinate a little bit. So I'm really struggling. I might need your help in coming up with a goal.
Well, what I find is helpful after beating a big, either time-consuming game or just something that is intense, a little palate cleanser is good.
Mm.
Little indies that come free with the PlayStation Plus and games with gold on Xbox are always good for those sort of things.
Yep.
Maybe you just need something light and fluffy.
Oh, sort of light and fluffy. It's something that's been on my list, but I haven't played yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Telltale series of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, what better time to play that with the old
Infinity War.
Infinity War raging around us?
Well, it's starting to calm down, but there's plenty of spoilers and memes floating about the internet still.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, let's go see what the Guardians of the Galaxy look like in video game form.
Well, that's something for you to tackle. You could probably knock
probably
out
beat
all
that in
5 episodes
I
before
think I
we
could
come
beat
back
that
to
in
this.
a week.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty realistic. Cool.
All right, you have a goal.
So do you, mister.
Congratulations.
Happy gaming.
Oh, it's going to be happy gaming.
Because there's no more Overcooked. Yes.
Thank goodness.
Till next week. Goodbye.
Have a good week.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers podcast. To join the conversation, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gaming Lovers, or follow us on Twitter at Brendo Jem. That's BRENDOJEM.